So I'm going to do something that I didn't clear with Candace first, so I hope that it's okay. I'm not going to sing. I'd like for you all to turn to your neighbor and to introduce yourselves quickly, because there are a lot of people who are here for the first time and you don't know each other. You need to know in order to do the work that we have to do this year. So it's good to know each other so that we can come together and form bonds, form relationships so that we can be successful in our goals for this year. So it's important to know with whom you are working and to put a face with that name. So that's why I wanted to have at least these people here that, you know, so that we can know each other. So a little bit about Democrats Abroad. Democrats Abroad is the official arm of the Democratic Party for Americans living overseas. It's called the DPCA, Democratic Party Abroad. And what we do is strive to provide Americans a democratic voice in our government and to elect democratic candidates by mobilizing our overseas vote. And as we had seen before, only 16% of those who are eligible to vote in Germany voted in the 2016 election. So we have a lot of work to do to find Americans and to get them registered to vote and to have them actually vote. So how do you fit into this? If we start here at the top, we have the Democratic National Committee. That's located in Washington. And of that, then we have the Democratic Party Abroad, which is called the DPCA. And then we have the DPCA broken into three regions. The one region is the Americas, then we have the Asia Pacific region, and then we have EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So it's a huge region. And of that region, we are in the Europe, Middle East, Africa region, which is probably the largest as far as population is concerned of Americans living overseas. And of course, Europe has the most number of Americans living abroad. So we have a huge impact on what goes on internationally. We have 43 country committees, and unfortunately Germany is not the largest one. I think we're the third largest one. After Canada and after the UK. So yeah, I know we have, but there's room for growth. Yeah, we can overtake. Well, it'll be very difficult, but we can try to overtake the UK and Canada with membership. So then, if we go from the country committees, we have chapters in Germany, and we have 12 chapters. And I just wanted to, before we go any farther, to, well, I can do that a little bit later, but I just need this here so that for my notes. But we have 12 chapters in Germany, and in those chapters, we also have what we are calling precincts, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Those are fledgling, or I shouldn't say, those are cells or newly founded cells that are attached to a chapter. And then after the chapter, we have you, the individual. And nothing gets done without you, of course. We can have as many chapters as we want, but unless we have people who are working at the chapter level, then nothing gets done. So it's very important for you to be as active as you can within your time constraints, because we are a volunteer organization and we rely on our members in order to get things done. All right, so what Democrats Abroad does, we inform about the process of voting from abroad. We have a website that's called votefromabroad.org, which is nonpartisan. So even if you're Republican, you can go there and register to vote. It doesn't matter. What we want to do is just try to get as many Americans as possible registered to vote so that they can actually participate in the voting process. We want to educate our members or Americans about issues that affect us at home and abroad. And if you think about it, some of the issues that affect us as Americans abroad are different from those who live in the States. So it's important for us to band together and to try to look at the issues that affect us so that we can have a bigger voice in Congress about the issues and that they can pay attention to us. And if we are large enough and loud enough, they do listen. We also advocate on behalf of Americans overseas in Washington. And case in point, we have one person whose name is Carmelan Police, and she's working with the tax advocacy group because America, as you all know, is strange in the fact that we have to pay taxes based on our birthright, but not by our location. So sometimes we're double taxed, and that's not, something that we like. And if you remember when America was started, one of the reasons was because of taxes. So if we can help our elected officials to recognize the issues that we have involved with taxes, then maybe we can get taxes abolished. we're paying American taxes and German taxes or whatever, for the entire American population living abroad. That's just one thing. Also, the ERA, which Sherry will talk about later, we had a lot of help to do with that, with Virginia and New Jersey. With Virginia in particular, post-writing campaign to people living in Virginia or Democrats abroad living in overseas who vote in Virginia to vote. And as we see, the legislature flipped. It went to a Democratic legislature, and last week, or the week before last, they passed the ERA amendment. And we have still yet to see what happens with that as far as the Congress is concerned. But had it not been for Democrats involved in that, then we probably would not have had that success. So we also try to create community. Democrats abroad is a lot of fun if you let it be fun. It's not all work. It can be fun. And I have some really good friends that I've made within Democrats abroad. And so it gives you a sense of belonging. You can find other people who are like-minded. And so that's how you can also fit in as an individual level. So the structure of DA Germany, we have bylaws by which we are governed. And each the executive committee that we have is the body that basically governs DAG, and we have 26 members who are elected to a membership, a term of 2 years. And we have 34 maximum, that could be 34 maximum members. The officials that we have here are the chair, which is Candace, vice chair, the secretary. That position is now vacant at the moment, or is it vacant? Yeah, it's vacant. So if you are interested, you can let one of us know that you would like to be secretary, and maybe you can be secretary. And then Ron Schlantier is our treasurer. We have 6 at-large positions: chapter development, communications, events, fundraising, get out the vote, membership, and IT, and press. We also have 12 DPCA voting representatives and 12 chapter chairs. And then the chapter chairs that we have are Berlin, and I would like, if you are here, as I call you, to stand up so that people can see who you are. So Diego, is Diego here?
I'm not here yet, but I'm the vice chair.
And Poet just walked in the door, he's also from Berlin. Okay. And then from Cologne, Bonn, we have Daniela. And Bill, yes. Okay, then from Düsseldorf is Eileen. From Frankfurt is Barb. Göttingen is Chris. Is Chris here? Yes. Okay. From Hamburg, Vinny. Is Vinny here? I haven't seen Vinny this morning. Anyone from Hamburg here? Okay. Yes. What's your name? Bobby. Bobby. Okay, Bobby's here from Hamburg, but Vinny will be here later. Yeah, and then from Heidelberg is Nancy. From Kaiserslautern is Therese. From Münster is Patrick. Matt. Yeah, okay. Münster is Matt. München is Patrick. Stuttgart is Kelsey. And Wiesbaden is Deandra. So these are your chapter chairs. And they do a lot for the advancement of our goals and our causes here in Germany. So if you have any information about the area in which you might live, for example, if you're here for the first time and you don't know who to talk to, then you might want to turn to one of the chapter chairs. All right? Okay, we also have approximately 20 precincts. I'm not going to read that list, but you can see it here. And we are also trying to develop new precincts, which is what Quaid is going to talk to us about a little bit later. We also have caucuses. These are done also at an international level. For every international caucus, there is also a national caucus chair or caucus leader. Some of these positions are now vacant. But if you are interested in any one of these caucuses, please come and talk to any one of us, and we can hopefully get you then steered in the right direction. The caucuses that we have are the Black Caucus, and Angela is the international chair of the Black Caucus. Woo-hoo! And then we have the Hispanic Caucus.
She's on her way.
Okay, the LGBT caucus is vacant at the moment. I used to do that, but since I became vice chair, I gave that up, and no one wanted to take it over. So, but if you are interested in that, you can do that. Progressive caucus, do we have a chair for that one? Kelsey. Veterans and Military Families Caucus. And the Women's Caucus is Beverly, is that, or? Okay, Women's Caucus is a collective effort at the moment. Okay, the Youth Caucus, I think that's Diego. Cordy. Okay, I'm all messed up here. Okay, and as I mentioned before, these caucuses exist not only at the international level, but also at the country committee and the chapter level. So if you want to get involved in any one of these caucuses, please either speak to the people who are leading the caucuses or your chapter chair. So the global presidential primary is coming up soon. It will be taking place from the 3rd of March to the 10th of March. And this is our opportunity to vote for candidates that we feel need to be or should be president. Yeah? So, what is the global primary? It is an opportunity for us to vote here in Germany in person, at a place, at a location. The locations here are listed below, and there are 30 locations currently in Germany, and this is the most locations of any country committee in the world. So, why would you want to vote in the global primary? Because your vote here counts. Democrats abroad sends delegates to the national committee. And the delegation is based upon the number of votes that we have. So the more the people vote, the bigger voice that we have at the Democratic National Committee, and then we can also have a larger voice in determining who's going to be the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. So that will be talked about in a lot more detail tomorrow or later. Later, both, yes. So if you have more questions about the global primary and how you can be a part of that, please stay tuned. There's a lot of information that's going to be coming at you about the global primary. All right? So, thank you. And I'm going to give it back to, I have one more. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, I talked a little bit about this, why vote in the global presidential primary. The voting order, DA votes early compared to many states. So, by voting, we're actually a Super Tuesday type of organization. Yeah, Super Tuesday, which is spread over a week. So if you want to vote in our primary, then you have a chance to vote for, oh, Vinny just walked in from Hamburg. So if you vote in the global primary for us, then you will be probably steering how other people might decide to vote, because you know other states vote later, and a lot of the states that vote later tend to feel a little bit benachteiligt. Yeah. Okay, so we have better representations in terms of our voter ratio, because as I said before, then we send delegates to the National Convention based upon the votes. And for example, the state of Pennsylvania, from which Candace comes, has 8 million registered voters, and they get 240 delegates. The Democrats Abroad organization, we have approximately 200,000 voters, and we get 21 delegates. So the ratio of voters to delegates is a lot better for Democrats Abroad than it is for a lot of the states in the United States. And it also reinforces that Americans are an important group who live overseas, and we have a lot of weight, we have a lot of say. And because of Democrats Abroad, a lot of the politicians actually come and speak to us because they know that we are a large voting bloc, and they want our votes. So if you are at all interested in voting in the global primary, please do so. It will help not only you, but also all Americans who are living abroad. So thank you, and I'm going to give this back to Chris at the moment.